Another day in rugby and another bunch of headlines, and some of them rather bizarre. So yes, welcome back to my channel, guys. Yeah, I'm laughing when I say that, of course, and those who know why. Yeah, so sitting here today, and I was just chuckling to myself this morning. I thought I'd do a quick video about the shock horror in New Zealand about Steve Hansen defecting to the Wallabies. It's a bit of a storm in the teacup, but anybody who's been to New Zealand knows how seriously they take their rugby and what a big thing their All Black coaches are to them. And Steve Hansen, obviously being a World Cup winner, part of the team that won the back-to-back or the black-to-black World Cups 2011, 2015, is seen as a bit of a national hero. Sir Steve Hansen, he got knighted for it, and he's quite a popular figure in New Zealand. So it was met with a lot of shock and horror that he went over and helped the arch enemy in Eddie Jones. Of course, everybody's favourite coach. You love him or you hate him, but you certainly always got an opinion about Eddie. So in a nutshell, the story is quite easy. Eddie Jones has taken his team to France. They're having a World Cup warm-up game against France this weekend. Should be rather interesting to watch and see how that young squad of his does. And he asked Sir Steve Hansen to come in and be with the squad for about 3 days. Nothing untoward in that. Nothing unusual in terms of rugby as well. We see it quite often happen that coaches come in and employ other coaches, especially in the international level, and use their knowledge. Eddie himself was the box consultant in 2007 and helped them win the World Cup. So, I think it's normal to happen in rugby, but for some reason in New Zealand it's caused a bit of an outcry. Let's go through it. I just don't the one thing I've got to say is Eddie being Eddie, of course, keeps all the attention on him, and he's made sure that the issue is nobody's talking about his squad, and everyone's talking about everything else around the squad and him, and now Steve Hansen. So kudos on Eddie to do that. See how long he can keep that up going into the World Cup and deflect from results. But it's going to be very interesting to see. But with that in mind, let's have a look. This is how it started. This is the first time I heard about it in some of the New Zealand media. Video thanks to Jamie Wall, who asked Dane Coles about it, and for the first time in a long time we saw a genuine surprised reaction from Dane Coles, and you haven't seen reactions like this from players. But watch for yourself the conversation as he sort of discovers that Steve Hansen has gone over to the Wallabies, and it's quite interesting.
What do you make of your former coach linking up with the Wallabies?
Who's that?
Steve Hansen.
Yeah. Well, actually.
Yeah.
Well, like in camp kind of setup.
Yeah.
He has to turn up to the game.
A few days.
He might not be paid. What are your thoughts?
Shag, what are you up to? Oh, that hurts a little bit, to be fair. I'm actually Goldsmith. I know he's quite tight with Eddie. I think they're pretty good mates, but he's a bit of an icon in the All Black setup, and mate. I'm actually a bit speechless, but a bit disappointing about that. We can't do much about that. It's,
does it sting a little, given what he's brought to the All Black?
Yeah, it does kind of bit. He's a great man. And I'm actually Goldsmith. I don't know. I thought you guys were taking him a bit of a laugh, but he's not obviously in the environment at the moment, so we just have to kind of leave it, and I suppose he can help out Eddie. Hopefully he doesn't tell Eddie all our secrets, but I think he'll be respectful, that's the main thing. If he's respectful, and which I think he will to the All Blacks, I think there'll be no problems.
Then the same question was asked of Ardie Severe, and Ardie, being the statesman he is, gave a perfectly legitimate answer that said basically nothing.
Are you taken by surprise to hear of Steve Hansen joining the Wallabies camp?
Oh, Matty just told me just then, hey, everyone's got to do what they've got to do, and good on them.
But that didn't stop it, because there's been a lot of outcry, on that. Even Steve Hansen had to go onto New Zealand radio and defend himself and tell people he hadn't actually defected to the Wallabies. And just listen to this exchange. It's quite bizarre for the rest of us in a normal rugby life to listen to this.
I kind of think, wow, what's all that about? Is it as bad as what it seems? You decide. Steve, just let me read you a couple of the headlines in the New Zealand media here at the moment. This is on TV1 News. Steve Hansen joins Wallabies setup ahead of World Cup. Okay, that's a blazing headline. Another one from Dane Coles on News Hub. Shag, what are you up to? All Blacks stunned by former coach Hansen's defection. Quite strong words.
Well, obviously Fozzie didn't tell him I was coming here because I'd spoken to Foz about it, and so they're fully informed on what's going on. And New Zealand TV1's got it completely wrong. I'm not joining the Wallabies. I'm up here with my wife on other business, and got asked by Eddie if I'd spend a few days with them. And as he's a mate, I said yes. So, we won't be giving them any trade secrets, but we will be giving them some feedback on what we're seeing, and that's all he's asked me to do. And I think rugby's a game where we all share ideas and work and help each other, and I see no problem with it. But I do understand that there's a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding, so people have got a wee bit excited, but I can't do too much about that.
How did it come about then?
Well, as you know, I know Eddie really well, and we talk often, and he knew that I was coming up with tasked to do this other stuff that I'm doing in Munich, and he said, well, could you come and spend some time with us pre the World Cup? And I said, yeah, no problem.
Even the New Zealand Prime Minister chimed in and said sort of jokingly suggested that Steve Hansen should perhaps lose his citizenship, which is bizarre and ridiculous. But
what should the punishment for Steve Hansen be for accepting a job with the Wallabies?
I think we should cancel his citizenship. No, that's a joke, just to be very clear.
Yeah, the way it's dominated some headlines in New Zealand's been quite interesting, but it's just at this moment a bit of a sideshow, and some school chanting. There's a school nearby me, so there's some sports day going on. Anyway, and then Eddie was asked for his view, and he sort of explained why he did it. It's rather bizarre.
Hey Eddie, a bit of positive stuff going on over there this week with a mate of yours in camp, Steve Hansen coming in. Can you tell us the reasoning why, how it kind of came about, and what he's kind of working on, what you're trying to achieve with that?
Yeah, well, I've coached against Steve since, I think, 1998, so I've got a long relationship, enjoy each other's company, and I had the thought, we always wanted this week particularly, it's a reset week for us. We've been through the Rugby Championship, done our Australian responsibilities, and now it's a reset, so we've brought in Steve to have a look at what we're doing, and it's purely like that, like a mate coming in, having a beer, what do you think, where can we improve? And we've also got Doug Lemoff, who we've used previously to help with the coaches improve their coaching. So it's a really important professional development time for us to just get a little bit better before we go into the World Cup.
So Dane Coles had a bit of a reaction saying, he was a little bit hurt by it, and the NZPM had a joke that, they were going to revoke his citizenship. What kind of reaction did your players have to seeing someone, like that, I guess, from the dark side in a way, in your camp, working with you guys?
Yeah, well, they like good people coming in the camp. They want to get better, and they can see the value of Steve. You just look at his test record. I think he coached 200 tests. I don't know, for the All Blacks he won 80 plus %, I think 87%. So they like good people coming in the camp, and he's a good person. So the attitude's been really positive, mate.
But saying that, I think what we do realise, when people have asked me, I was asked on New Zealand radio the other night, what would it be like if Russie went over and helped England or the All Blacks? And I think there'd be some outcry, but I don't think to the level of New Zealand outcry. I think we're quite used to South African coaches going overseas and sort of helping out other teams. In fact, we've got enough players in other teams in the World Cup that it shouldn't really bother South Africans. I think it's a professional game. Skills are fluid, and you can hire skills and bring in skills like you should, and if that makes your game go better, then all good to it. People have to find employment, and they have to be used, and if they can be used in a consulting role, why not? So Anyway, that was my chuckle for the day. That was a bit of World Cup banter going ahead of the tournament. But yeah, tell me what you think. Is it a storm in a teacup, or am I just missing the point?